The council chamber dimmed as a holographic feed replayed its horror. Another human colony erased in fire. Ambassador Yun Ji-woo stood rigid beneath the towering images, shattered orbital rings drifting apart like glowing bone fragments. New Solus had been home to nearly 16 million people. Now, its once bustling habitats drifted lifelessly in endless night. Honored members of the Sovereignty Council, Yun began, forcing composure into every syllable. That is a 7 human world destroyed in under 90 days. The Krieg Dominion refuses communication, ignores every envoy, and annihilates without offering terms. They treat us as if we don't exist. Her voice echoed across the circular chamber. Dozens of alien delegates regarded her from their floating platforms. Some watched with sympathy, others with irritation, most with fear. The Vexian representative, a crystalline being whose faceted skin caught the blue light, like shattered ice, raised 3 glittering hands dismissively. Ambassador Wu, humanity has existed among the stars for scarcely a century and a half. Expansion so rapid was always destined to collide with ancient territorial claims. The Kriegs simply enforced what was theirs. Yun's jaw tightened. Every colony we found it was approved under sovereignty law, registered, logged, monitored. Your laws. Laws the Krieg Dominion never recognized, the Talvesh observer murmured, its ancient voice vibrating through the chamber like distant thunder. They are older than this council, older than most of us. They bow to no authority but their own. Then what is the point of this council? Yin demanded, her restraint finally cracking. You preach unity, cooperation, mutual defense. Yet when a member world cries for help, you sit silent. A dozen languages erupted at once, some defensive, some apologetic, many conflicted. No one committed to anything. No one condemned the Kriegs. No one offered troops, ships, or even sanctions for all their civilized ideals. Yin realized the galaxy's elder species had no desire to risk themselves for a young upstart population that had barely earned its place among them. Her communicator buzzed, a coded signal from Earth Command. She tapped twice in acknowledgement. 3 words returned. Light the fire. Across the dark frontier of the solar system, far beyond Neptune's quiet orbit, a hidden facility powered up for the first time in nearly a century. Officially, the region did not exist. On star charts, it was an empty void. In truth, it housed one of humanity's deepest secrets. The USS Blackstar, a vessel built in the panic of first contact, born out of humanity's fear that they stood alone among giants. When diplomacy had succeeded decades earlier, the ship was mothballed, its existence reduced to whispers among the highest levels of command. Now its power core awakened. Captain Elena Rodriguez stepped onto bridge, greeted by the controlled chaos of crew who had trained for a war they prayed would never come. 20 years of drills, simulations, and classified operations had forged them into a blade tempered in secrecy. Status, Elena asked, settling into her command chair. Reactor at 92%. We'll reach full in 40 minutes. Chief Engineer Park Minsu reported, fingers dancing over hollow displays. Antimatter feed stable. Containment green. Weapons charged, added Lieutenant Chun. Magazines loaded. All batteries online. Jump plotted. Navigation confirmed. Destination, new solar system. Enemy fleet count, 47 confirmed Krieg vessels. The holographic tactical map flared to life. The Krieg ships stood arrayed around the shattered human colonies, devouring the system's resources like carrion feeders. Elena stared at the formation. 47 ships. Enough firepower to vaporize continents. But humanity hadn't survived extinction-level threats by fighting fair. Open the final authorization channel, she said. Earth Command's encrypted codes unraveled across her display. Weapons free. Operations unrestricted. Fear flickered through the bridge. But alongside it was something else. Resolve. Elena took a slow breath. Helm, she said. Take us to New Solus. The Blackstar's engines roared to life, bending space as the vessel vanished into the dark. And the galaxy's long-held assumptions about humanity were about to burn. The Krieg Dominion's forward commander, War Ascendant Thexfer, monitored the new soulless occupation from the bridge of his flagship. Below him, the human colony burned in slow motion. Plumes of molten earth, shattered cities, and smoldering industrial districts painted the world in scars. 3 days earlier, New Solus had tried to resist. Now it was little more than a broken jewel, being stripped bare. War ascendant. A sensor officer rasped, scales trembling. New contact. A vessel has emerged from FTL at the system's rim. Fexler's expression shifted from boredom to mild interest. Another human evacuation frigate? No, sir. Unknown configuration. 800 meters long. No transponder. No attempt to transmit. 800 meters. A cruiser at best. Nothing that could threaten him. They are either delusional, Dexter muttered, or begging for mercy. Shall we broadcast a warning? No. Fire a demonstration shot. Let them witness the strength of the Dominion before they die. 3 Create destroyers unleashed brilliant arcs of star-hot plasma. The blasts illuminated space itself, scorching a path directly across the stranger's trajectory. The human ship, if it even was human, did not respond. Another salvo, Dexter ordered, irritation creeping in. Disable their engines. The destroyers obeyed. The bolts landed directly on the unidentified ship's shielding. A shocking flare of blue erupted and then faded. No weakening, no hull scoring, no loss of momentum. What are their shields made of? A tactical officer whispered. Primitive humans do not possess shielding capable of that. Thexfer snapped. War ascendant, they are powering weapons. Thexfer barked a derisive laugh. Let them show us their... The human ship fired. There was no glowing beam, no plume of plasma, no elegant quantum distortion. There was only a twist in space, an invisible knife edge. Then 3 Krieg cruisers vanished in explosions so violent that their hulls vaporized outward like superheated metal foil. Report. Thexfer roared, claws digging gouges into command throne. Gamma ray bursts, the sensor officer stammered. Artificial, focused nuclear intensity. Their weapons punch through our shields. That is impossible. Nuclear weapons are obsolete. A second salvo. For more ships disappeared in expanding spheres of fire. Thexfer's scales flushed pale. All ships. Full bombardment. Erase them. Every vessel in his fleet. 47 warships. Unleash a storm of fire. Plasma, particle beams, quantum torpedoes, gravitational shear cannons. Enough power to shatter a moon. The human ship endured all of it. Its shields flickered like a living thing, absorbing, reshaping, and dispersing the attacks with brutal efficiency. And still advanced. Thexfer watched his fleet collapse in chunks. This is not possible, someone whispered. It is human. Another hissed. It must be human. Launch kinetic interceptors. Thexfer ordered, desperation bleeding into his tone. Crush them with mass. 6 heavy cruisers deployed clouds of hyperdense projectiles, each accelerated to relativistic speed. A metal storm designed to pulverize entire stations. The human ship's point defense lit up, railguns firing streams of tungsten faster than thought. Every incoming projectile vaporized or ricocheted away. They are moving directly toward us. A terrified voice croaked. They are targeting your flagship. Thexfer stared at the tactical display. The human ship flew like a spear straight through his fleet, absorbing every hit, returning fire that erased hulls, reactors, and 1,000-year-old war doctrines. Concentrate fire. Thexfer screamed. Everything. Space became white with overlapping detonations. For a heartbeat, the human vessel disappeared in the glare, and then emerged, still coming. 17 Krieg ships remained, then 14, then 9. Thexfer's pride crumbled. War ascendant, the helmsman whispered. We must retreat. We are the Dominion, Thexfer hissed. We do not retreat from primitives. Helm, ramming speed. The flagship surged forward, intended to collide and obliterate the intruder. The human ship made a tiny adjustment. Small ports opened along its hull. Thexfer had one frozen moment to understand. Railguns, thousands of them. They fired in a synchronized, blistering torrent, each round moving at a fraction of light speed. The flagship disintegrated, not exploded, simply ceased to exist. Hull plating, bulkheads, living bodies, all reduced to accelerating particulate matter. Thexfer's final thought was not fear. It was realization. Humanity was not primitive. Humanity had been pretending. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood amid the quiet hum of the Blackstar's bridge as the last fragments of the Krieg fleet drifted across the projection screens. 17 minutes, barely the length of a training drill, and an entire occupation force had been erased from the system. No one cheered. No one even breathed loudly. The devastation was too absolute. Status, Elena said softly. Shields holding at 73% and recharging steadily. Chief Engineer Park reported. He didn't look up from his console. Minor hull scoring on decks 4 and 10. No critical systems compromised. Enemy survivors? Elena asked. 17 escape pods detected. The comms officer replied. Some signaling distress. Orders. Elena didn't hesitate. Recover them. Get medical teams ready. A wave of relief washed over her crew, not because they doubted her, but because mercy mattered. They needed to remain human. Once the drones began retrieving the Krieg escape pods, Elena opened a channel on all frequencies, voice steady as steel. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the United Earthship Blackstar. The new solar system is liberated. All Krieg military assets in human territory are ordered to withdraw within 24 hours. Any vessel that remains will be treated as hostile and destroyed without warning. There was no malice in her tone, just certainty. The galaxy had warned humanity not to provoke the Krieg dominion. The Kriegs had warned humanity not to resist. Both had expected the humans to break. Instead, the Blackstar had written a new rule across the stars. Humanity kneels to no one. The Sovereignty Council reacts. On the other side of the galaxy, the Sovereignty Council chamber erupted in chaos. Holographic feeds displayed the debris of 47 Krieg ships, broken apart by a vessel the Council had never heard of. Ambassador Yun stood calm and composed, though her heartbeat pounded like a war drum. You say humans had no fleet? The Vexian delegate snapped angrily. You said you could not defend yourselves. Yun kept her voice smooth. I asked for help because we did not want this war, not because we were incapable of fighting it. How many such ships do you possess? The Talvesh observer asked, his tone cautious. Yin smiled faintly. Enough. It was a deliberate half-truth. Enough to keep the galaxy uncertain. Enough to buy Earth time. Humanity has destabilized the balance of power, the Luminar representative said. The Krieg Dominion will not allow this humiliation to go unanswered. They already sent one armada, Yin replied. I suspect Captain Rodriguez is intercepting their reinforcements even as we speak. The Council fell into uneasy silence. Ambush at Kepler Station. They didn't know how right she was. 3 days later, the Blackstar descended into the Kepler Station system, a Krieg staging point packed with supply vessels, refueling barges, and reinforced patrol craft. Lieutenant Chin scanned the area. 16 warships inbound. Looks like they believe they can overwhelm us by numbers. They'll learn, Elena murmured. The Blackstar opened fire first. Gamelan strikes carved through Krieg cruisers like lightning splitting trees. Kinetic batteries shattered hulls faster than sensors could register them. Within minutes, the Krieg response disintegrated. For 3 days straight, reinforcements continued arriving, destroyers, cruisers, even a handful of heavy assault ships. All of them entered the killing field believing they could turn the tide. None left. The numbers climbed. Day 1, 17 ships. Day 2, 23 ships. Day 3, 14 ships. The crew watched with a mixture of awe and dread. We're too good at this, Park whispered once, almost ashamed. Elena didn't disagree. Humanity's history of self-destruction had shaped them into the perfect warriors, something the galaxy had never expected from a young species, a test of humanity. On the 4th day, Chen's voice cut through the quiet. Captain, new contacts. Medical transponders. A Krieg hospital ship with civilian escorts. The bridge froze. A wounded enemy. Vulnerable. Easy to destroy. Easy revenge. What are your orders? Chen asked. Elena stood slowly. The weight of her decision pressed like gravity. Stand down weapons. Chun blinked. Captain? You heard me. Moments later, the image of a terrified Krieg commander filled the screen. Before he could speak, Elena raised her hand. We will not fire on civilians. Continue your evacuation. Leave human space and do not return. The Krieg commander stared, stunned. Finally he bowed, an ancient gesture of respect among his kind. I will tell them what you did here, he said quietly, and what you chose not to do. The transmission ended. Elena exhaled. Mercy, she whispered, is how we win the peace. 6 hours after the humanitarian encounter, the Blackstar's long-range sensors erupted with warning pings. Massive energy signature detected. The communications officer announced. Multiple FDL signatures converging. Configuration matches. Krieg's second armada. Lieutenant Chen's face tightened. 147 warships. Full combat formation. Chief Engineer Park let out a low breath. They're throwing everything they have left at us. Elena studied the tactical readout. The second armada had arranged itself in a tri-spiral encirclement. An evolving formation meant to trap a single vessel from multiple angles, drowning it under overlapping weapons fire. A perfect no-escape net, unless you were the Blackstar. Helm, Elena said calmly. Take us into the Helios asteroid field. The helmsman blinked. Captain, that region is a navigational nightmare. Some of those rocks are kilometers across. I know, Elena said, but the CR don't. And with that, the Blackstar plunged into chaos. The Helios gauntlet. The Helios field was infamous, an enormous labyrinth of tumbling debris, rogue icebergs, metallic shards, and drifting fragments of ancient planetoids. It wasn't just an asteroid belt. It was a tidal storm frozen in orbit. As soon as the Blackstar disappeared behind a tumbling wall of rock, the Krieg Armada followed, splitting into smaller hunting groups to sweep the maze. They're dividing to search, Chin observed, eyes locked on the map. They think they can box us in. They're thinking in 2 dimensions, Elena replied. This place is 3-dimensional chaos. The first engagement erupted in silence. Space had no sound, only destructively brilliant flashes. The Blackstar slipped behind a drifting iceberg the size of a stadium and fired a gamma lance that bisected 2 Krieg destroyers before they even detected the shot. Shifting position, the helmsman announced, weaving narrowly between rock clusters. The Krieg ships attempted a counter-ambush, but Elena had anticipated every move. She had spent half her career running simulations through dense debris fields. The asteroid field wasn't a hindrance. It was her camouflage, her fortress, her hunting ground. The Blackstar darted from shadow to shadow, emerging only long enough to fire devastating salvos before vanishing again. For hours the deadly dance continued. Krieg ships firing wildly at phantom readings, smashing asteroid by accident, triggering avalanches of flying rock that tore their own formations apart. Chun laughed once, short, humorless. They're fighting the environment more than they're fighting us. Park's hands flew across engineering panels as the ship took glancing hits. We've got minor breaches on Deck 7. Shield output is dropping to 55%, but still stable. Keep us in the rocks, Elena said. We use the terrain until we thin them. By hour 4, Krieg tactics had grown frantic. They detonated plasma charges to clear paths, tried forcing the Blackstar into kill zones, and even attempted to collapse an entire section of the field. Nothing worked. Humanity had been mastering warfare under overwhelming odds for millennia. By hour 6, the once mighty Second Armada was in ruins. 89 Krieg vessels destroyed. Dozens more crippled or lost in the labyrinth. The survivors retreated, unwilling to continue a slaughter that defied logic and training. Elena stared at the tactical board. Shields at 40%, hull scarred, crew exhausted, but the Blackstar still humming with lethal potential. We're receiving a message from Earth Command. The comms officer said quietly. They request immediate return for resupply and crew rotation. Elena shook her head. We can't stop. Every minute we rest is a minute the Krieg military reorganizes. They must not recover momentum. Park hesitated. Captain, the crew is nearing exhaustion. 6 straight weeks of combat. I know, Elena said softly, but the colonists still under occupation don't get to rest either. We move until the job is done. There was no rebellion on the bridge, only tired understanding. Navigation, Elena said, voice steady. Plot the next liberation route. The officer nodded. We have 10 colonies originally captured. We've freed 4. 6 remain. Elena's eyes hardened. We free them all. The Blackstar pivoted, leaving behind a debris field that would haunt Krieg military textbooks for generations. The galaxy would soon learn that the Blackstar was not simply a warship. It was humanity's message carved in fire. Across the galaxy, the Sovereignty Council chamber seethed with tension. Delegates of dozens of species crowded in, some furious, some terrified, some quietly impressed, as the main hologram replayed the same incomprehensible sequence. One human warship, one concealed project. For Krieg armadas shattered like brittle glass. Ambassador Yun stood at the center platform, far calmer than during her previous appearances. Now the council watched her, not with disdain or pity, but with an unease usually reserved for apex predators. This must stop, the Vexian representative hissed, crystalline fingers twitching. Humanity has demonstrated it can defend itself. Yet your Blackstar continues its offensive unchecked. You are destabilizing the entire quadrant. Yun's expression remained composed. We are dismantling the Krieg military machine that burned our worlds. That is self-defense. That is annihilation, countered the Luminar delegate. Your vessel strikes with no hesitation, no warning, no surrender demands. Yun lifted a brow. We did not write the rules. The Kriegs did, and we are simply applying those rules with greater efficiency. The chamber erupted again, until the Talvesh observer spoke with gravity that silenced everyone. The Krieg Dominion is preparing something catastrophic. Our intelligence confirms the activation of a planet cracker weapon. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Yun's stomach nodded. A planet cracker could split continents, boil oceans, sever tectonic plates. Such devices were the nightmare artifacts of the galaxy's oldest wars. Too horrific to use, too powerful to destroy, so most were locked away in deep vaults. Except now one was aimed at Earth. How long? Yin asked quietly. 6 weeks, the Talvesh said. Trajectory confirmed. The Vexian delegate's crystalline body dimmed. This is the consequence of your escalation. You have cornered a desperate empire. And what consequence? Yin snapped. Did we earn when they obliterated our first colonies before we even built a war fleet? Silence again. The Luminar delegate finally said, We wish to help intercept the weapon. Yin shook her head. If humanity is to survive in this galaxy, we must do it without leaning on species who refuse to help when we beg for protection. The statement struck like a knife. Even the council leaders flinched. Still, 3 species broke the stalemate. The Talvesh, who valued stability. The Luminar, guardians of peaceful doctrine. The Vexians, who feared escalating arm races. Together, they provided the full intelligence package on the Krieg planet killer. But Yin declined their fleets. We will handle it. Not because humanity wanted isolation, because humanity needed to show it would no longer be dismissed. When the session ended, Yun moved into the privacy of the human diplomatic suite. As she activated secure communications, her pulse hammered. Elena's face appeared almost instantly. We've received the intel, Captain Rodriguez said without preamble. We're already shifting trajectory to intercept. It's not enough, Yin said. We're mobilizing the Prometheus and Horizon's Edge. They are joining you. Elena blinked. Both ships? That means revealing everything. The galaxy already sees you, Yin replied. Now they need to understand you. Elena exhaled slowly. Behind her, the Blackstar's bridge buzzed with controlled readiness. What about the Krieg home fleet? Elena asked. 400 warships guard their capital. If we're intercepting the planet killer, the fleet will react. We know, Yin said. and we trust your judgment. Elena nodded once. Heavy, resolute, a soldier carrying the weight of a species. Ambassador! If we break their final fleet, the war ends. Yes, Yin said. But remember, the galaxy is watching. They expect vengeance. Her voice softened. Show them we can win without losing who we are. 3 human capital ships enter Kriak Prime. 3 days later, space tore open at the edge of the Kriak Prime system. The USS Blackstar, the UES Prometheus, the UES Horizon's Edge. 3 titans born in silence, forged in fear, unleashed only when humanity had no other choice. As they aligned formation, Elena stared at the holomap. 400 Kriak warships arranged in a massive defense screen, their last bulwark. The home of billions waited behind them. They're hailing us, Chin reported. Elena didn't respond. Instead, she opened a private channel. All ships, our mission is simple. Break their fleet, spare their world. We do this cleanly. No genocide. No retribution. The acknowledgments came back firm. Elena lifted her chin. Advance. The 3 ships surged forward, and the last great Kriak fleet braced for a storm they could not comprehend. The 3 human capital ships advanced like a moving wall of defiance. On the tactical map, the Kriak home fleet bloomed into activity. Hundreds of warships shifting formation, engines burning bright, weapons charging as they prepared to defend their core world. Kriak fleet transmitting again, Jin said. They're demanding we withdraw or face annihilation. Elena didn't open the channel. She wasn't interested in speeches from an empire that believed conversation was weakness. Her focus was on the tactical overlay. 400 warships, battleships, heavy cruisers, carriers, destroyers, and dozens of specialized warcraft humanity had only encountered in scattered reports. This was the true might of the Kriak Dominion, the fleet that had dominated the sector for 3,000 years. Prometheus and Horizon report ready, Park said. He'd stopped sitting. Tension kept him upright, hands hovering over emergency control access ports. Then let's end this, Elena said. The humans accelerated. The Kriaks opened fire. The battle began. The fall of the home fleet. Space erupted into violent color. The Kriaks unleashed every weapon they possessed. Plasma storms that melted small moons, particle beams that sliced across the void like cosmic razors, torpedoes laced with exotic energy signatures. The Blackstar and her sister ships plowed directly into the onslaught. Shields flared and rippled like ocean waves hammered by storms. Bulkheads groaned. Systems sparked. But the human ships kept going. Gamma batteries, continuous fire. Elena ordered. The Blackstar's main lances lashed out, razor-thin beams of focused nuclear fury that cut through Kriak shields like heat through ice. Gigantic war cruisers exploded in blinding blossoms of incandescent metal. The Prometheus engaged next, unleashing kinetic salvos so dense and fast that Kriak capital ships crumpled like tin under a hydraulic press. Horizon's Edge executed sweeping arcs around the formation, carving through flanking vessels with rapid-fire precision strikes. The CRE fleet fought furiously, coordinated, disciplined, desperate, but nothing their ships threw at the humans had sufficient impact. We've lost 74 enemy vessels, Chin reported. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with disbelief. That's only the vanguard, Park muttered. The battle raged for an hour that felt like a century. Human shields dropped to 40%. Hull plating tore. 5 times, Elena nearly ordered a tactical withdrawal. 5 times, she held her nerve. Because behind the CRE fleet was their home. Retreat meant prolonging the war. Retreat meant giving the Kriaks time to launch another planet killer. Retreat meant humanity's suffering would stretch on, and she would not allow that. The fleet breaks. By the second hour, cracks appeared in the CRE formation. Ships pulled from lines. Some attempted suicide runs, only to be shredded by point defense. Others tried retreat, but there was nowhere to hide. Enemy command structure collapsing, Chin said. Press forward. Elena ordered. Finish the job. One by one, the Kriak home fleet shattered. Ships erupting in fire, reactors breaching, formations dissolving under relentless human assault. At last, only scattered pockets remained. The Blackstar surged past the burning debris, followed by her sister vessels, until the ruined remnants of the once mighty Dominions Warforce drifted silently behind them. Cease fire, Elena commanded. The bridge fell still. Before them hung the blue-white sphere of Krieg Prime, untouched, alive, full of billions of civilians who had no voice in a war that had been forced upon humanity. Elena opened a broadcast channel to the entire system. Humanity's final message. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the United Earthship Blackstar. Every Krieg citizen who looked to the skies saw human ships hovering above their home. Your military attacked us without warning. They burned our colonies, killed millions, and believed us too weak to fight back. She paused, letting the silence speak. We just dismantled your last defense fleet. We could bombard your world. We could destroy your infrastructure. We could punish you for every human life taken. A long breath. But we won't. Gasps echoed across every CRE station. Your Emperor launched a planet killer at Earth. We intercepted and neutralized it without harming your civilians or your world. She transmitted the footage. The Krieg Dominion watched the truth with widening horror. We will not become the monsters you claim we were. We will not murder civilians. We will not destroy planets. Her expression hardened. But the war ends now. Moments later, the Krieg Emperor appeared, an exhausted ruler facing a choice between pride and extinction. Captain Rodriguez, the Dominion surrenders. Aftermath and legacy. The treaty was signed in orbit over Krieg Prime. Reparations agreed upon. Forces recalled. Diplomacy restored. Ambassador Yun stood beside the Surrey Emperor as the Sovereignty Council finally acknowledged humanity as a full power, one not to be dismissed or pitted ever again. Months later, the Blackstar retired to lunar shipyards, battered but immortalized. Humanity had fought alone, won alone, and offered peace alone. The galaxy finally understood. Humans were dangerous not because they loved war, but because they chose mercy even when war had made them unstoppable.